I read the Quran, and this is what I discovered. Growing up, I never read the Quran. I grew up in a Christian household, and I am still a Christian to this day, so I read the Bible a lot. But I never read the Quran until a little less than a year ago. So this video is going to be about what I learned and what I discovered about the Quran, some common misconceptions I had or I see other Christians have about the Quran, and just kind of covering those topics. And if you guys like this video, if you guys find enjoyment in this video, I'll make more videos about the Quran and just some of the things in it, and as well as other religious books that I've read and will be reading. So if you like this type of stuff, definitely drop a subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like. So let's jump into it. First of all, I just want to talk about a general structure of the Quran that I discovered when I first started reading it. There are about 114 surahs within the Quran. Now, a surah is basically a chapter because the Quran is one big book. Unlike the Bible, which is multiple books written by multiple authors, the Quran is written by Muhammad, and it consists of 114 surahs, or otherwise known as chapters. And each surah is broken down into verses. So there's verses within surahs. So that is how the Quran is structured. The last few of the surahs are really short and really easy to memorize, so therefore a lot of Muslims actually memorize the last few surahs and use them in a lot of prayers or chants and so forth. So that is how the Quran is generally structured. Now, it's interesting to note that each surah starts with the same phrase except for one, Surah 9, which incidentally people think it's that way because it's Surah 9, I believe, is a second part or a continuation of Surah 8, but they've been divided into two for some reason. But that's why people believe Surah 9 doesn't start with this phrase, which goes like this. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. That's how each surah starts within the Quran, except for Surah 9, which incidentally also, Surah 9 is the common surah used by jihadists and other radicals to defend their radical beliefs about killing non-Muslims and about killing defectors. So that is a common surah used by radicals, which is just an interesting note to put out there. But it's also important to note that most Muslims are very peaceful, or most Muslims don't necessarily believe that, especially within the West. But that is actually a surah that's commonly used by Muslims of the more radical jihadist side of things to defend their beliefs. So these are just some of the general structures of the Quran, some things that I observed, and some things to note before we jump into just a few of the misconceptions and a few things I learned along the way. And I'm going to be covering 3 in this video. And if you guys like this video and you guys leave a comment and stuff like that and show interest, I'm going to make more videos like this. And I'm actually just started reading the Talmud, the Jewish commentary book that the Jews use. So I've been started reading that, and I might actually make a series of videos on that as well. So again, if you guys like these videos, I will keep making them. So anyway, let's jump into what I had, some misconceptions, some misconceptions I heard Christians have after reading the Quran, and just some of these things, some of the top 3 that I noticed. So number 1. I often heard that Islam was a religion without mercy. I often heard that Islam is merciless, that Muslims serve a God without any mercy, that it's just purely submission-based, all these different things, which isn't true. And that there's a reason why sometimes there can be a disconnect between Muslims and Christians when it comes to the whole mercy thing, because a lot of times Christians believe that Muslims worship a God without mercy, and Muslims can sometimes stare back confused, like, what are you talking about? I mean, I just read you the line that starts off every surah. Let me read it again. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. So the idea that Allah isn't merciful is actually completely bizarre to Muslims, because Allah is referred to as merciful throughout the Quran. Not just the beginning of each surah, but throughout the Quran, Allah is referred to as merciful a lot. And I mean a lot. And that kind of surprised me, honestly, because I did have this misconception that Allah was a God without mercy. Now, it is important to note that after I read the Quran versus reading the Bible, and I have read a couple other religious books as well, but just for comparison's sake for this, it is important to note that the understanding and conception of mercy within Islam is different than it is within other religions, especially Christianity. So, for instance, by what I can best tell after reading the Quran, the mercy of Allah, it goes more like this, where Allah is willing or shows you mercy by overlooking your sins and evil in favor of the good you did, or in a way, if you think about of a scale, that your good outweighs your bad, and Allah will show you mercy by not observing this evil and rather focusing on the good that you did, allowing you into paradise. at the end of your life or when things come to an end. Versus, let's just say, Christianity, where it goes like this, where God shows you mercy by taking on the punishment of your sins and evil and punishing himself basically and taking on the debt of your sin in order that you may enter into heaven or enter into paradise and have relationship and communion with God. So that is the difference. Allah doesn't take on the punishment of sin because in Islam he is so separated from creation, he's too holy for that. But within Christianity, mercy is understood as God taking on the punishment of sin because our sin was that great that he needed to do that in order for us to be saved. So they both understand God to be merciful, but the technicalities of that mercy are different. And then also mercy within other religions has similar nuances and is a little bit different. But again, just focusing on the Quran for this video. So that was misconception number 1. Now misconception number 2. The Quran is the only relevant holy book in Islam or relevant book of authority in Islam. This is not the case. There are many hadiths which are used in Islam, which are books basically of the history of the Quran, books that are written by Muhammad's close friends or disciples or relatives or so forth, who would have written about how the Quran was made or written about the history of Muhammad, written about his life, and also would give either commentary on the Quran or under different understandings of the Quran, so forth and so on. So hadiths are used as a means to also bring light and theology for lack of a better term, to Islam. And this is also how you get sometimes these different fractions within Islam, like Surah and Sunni and so forth, because some of these different factions use different hadiths to interpret the Quran. And so sometimes they get these different theologies or different belief structures, and then actually there's schisms within the Islam community because of these different hadiths sometimes. So hadiths are also used to help explain what the Quran means, and the Quran is not the only holy book or a book of authority within Islam. So that was the second misconception that was uprooted after going through my little study. Lastly, the third one I'll be covering in this video is that a lot of people think that Islam completely rejects the Bible. That is not the case, actually. There are also many verses and within surahs that actually say that the Old Testament was delivered by Allah to Moses, that the people of the book were given revelation from Allah, and the Israelites were given revelation from Allah in the Old Testament in the form of the Bible, and that actually, in other cases, in some verses within the Quran, it also talks about the idea that if Christians or people of the book would actually follow the teachings of the book, that they would discover Allah or find Allah. Now, because of these verses and because of these teachings, a lot of Muslims now teach that the current Bible that people have is corrupted.
Is that the Quran is perfectly reliable. It's never been changed. In contrast, the New Testament has been corrupted. It's been changed. The Bible no longer says what it used to say.
That since the Bible, as it stands currently, rejects the Quran and doesn't leave room for the monotheistic God of Allah and so forth and so on, that there actually is a corrupted version of the Bible and can't be the Bible of the book that Muhammad is referring to because of these reasons, plus a couple other reasons that factor into it. So it's just interesting to note that Muhammad actually commends the Bible for being revelation from Allah, but due to the years or corruption or whatever it was, the Bible is now corrupt and no longer very suitable for teaching according to common current day Muslim teaching. But Muhammad himself did refer to the people of the book having revelation through the Bible, and people of the book is just a way of referring to Christians, or they often refer to Jews as Jews, but people of the book is often referring to Christians. So that's also just an interesting note and something that I found fascinating as I read through the Quran. And now, as I said, I have learned a lot more than just this, and there's a lot of other things I discovered while reading the Quran, and a lot of other things I could talk about. But for this video, I just wanted to keep it quick and short, and just give you some of the top 3 misconceptions I had, and just an overview of what the Quran structured like, and what you can find in the Quran. And I would like to make more videos like this, but if you guys let me know what you guys think about this type of videos, and hearing more about it, and also hearing more about other religions, like the Talmud with the Jewish book, Tao Te Ching with Taoism, and so forth and so on, some other religious books I have read or am reading currently. So just let me know, and drop a like if you like this video, subscribe if you enjoy what you see, and just continue to join me as I continue to try to shed light on these different cultures and topics, and hopefully you guys enjoy learning about these things. Alright friends, go out there and light the world.